everyone. Today I'm super excited because I have my new friend Jamie from TikTok on with us. She is super knowledgeable about all things health. And I actually started following her a few months ago, and through me essentially sharing her on one of these videos that I did with my friend Bryce, she found me and contacted me, and we did a live on TikTok a few weeks ago. It was super great. So I was like, hey, you want to come on my channel? And here she is. So this is Jamie, everyone. She is known as Intuitive Lifestyle. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the Intuitive Lifestyle.
On TikTok. I will be linking all of her links down below so you can get in contact and follow her and all that jazz. So how are you doing this morning?
So good. I'm so good. And this is, I live for this. I live to share information for people. So I'm super stoked to be here, even though I've got like 3 hours of sleep because my toddler wouldn't sleep for the past 3 nights, but we're good.
Yep. We also vibe on the toddler level. So Levi will be interjecting. I'm sure he's always my little co-host. Yep. So I just basically wanted to kind of introduce you to the channel and to my subscribers because I've been talking about health a lot on my channel recently. And I was like, who better to talk about health than Jamie? Because she knows so many things, way more than I know. And a lot of my recent health journey, it has been because of you with the detox and everything. And so I just kind of felt like you had a super great story because I've heard little nuggets on TikTok of what your story is. So I was just going to start off by asking you, who were you before you started your health journey?
Okay.
If you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I grew up in a trailer park. My mother was an alcoholic. She had a lot of trauma in her life. And so it was hard for her to give me what I needed as a child. So, I grew up moving around a lot. She had different boyfriends. She would leave one, go back to the other, and we would just move back and forth. So I grew up in bars and in like biker clubhouses and things like that. I was an only child, so it was very lonely. It was very lonely. It was really sad. So I got up into, like elementary school and then middle school, and I just didn't feel okay inside. I felt like I was not good enough. I felt less than and very, very alone. So at an early age, I used to like try and make myself throw up with a toothbrush, just to feel like some sort of release, like maybe it was feeling physical manifestation of pain, I don't know. But so I adopted those behaviors really young. And then of course came like the boyfriends and the codependency as well, because I didn't feel that love from my mom, even though she was really lovable. She would always tell me she loved me, but actions are definitely stronger than words, So I sought love and comfort in relationships, which most of us know, most of us women know. And I really honestly believe that every person who is on this health and wellness journey, or this journey in developing their intuition and their connection to something greater, has a lot of trauma and a lot of healing to do, right? Because we come to this earth with lessons that we're going to learn, and we know what those are. So I had multiple relationships seeking somebody to make me feel love. And then I found drugs, So I used to, I still joke that I used to speedball because I needed drugs in a relationship, And so that brought me lots and lots of pain throughout my life. And to jail and, in and out of jail, and literally it just the end of my rope. I didn't want to live anymore. I at one point I actually threw up parasites. I actually threw them up. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like pretty bad when you're killing the parasites in you with drugs because you're using so many drugs. Okay.
Yeah.
So that like blew the lid off of, oh my God, I have parasites. I was like 90 pounds soaking wet, and I remember like just, sorry guys, but throwing up in this garbage can. And it was like, I was up for a few days and everything. And I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? So I ended up taking it to a doctor and they were like, yeah, you have parasites. This is a parasite. They sent it to the lab. They're like, I think this is a parasite. I've never seen anything like this in my entire career.
The fact that they're saying it's parasites, because they never point that out.
And they didn't know. They were like, I think this could be a parasite. Like, they were like, oh my God, this is like, like they were, she was like excited about it. It was something that was like, she never seen, which that in itself was a problem.
Right, exactly.
Okay. The other problem too is that they gave me 3 pills to take. And one time that is not gonna rid your body of a parasite infection, nor did it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if anyone knows anything about parasites, if you have an infection, you gotta work hard to get rid of that. And it's at least 3 months of cleansing. It's the very minimum. And even then, it ain't gonna work. You gotta do it. So yeah. So okay, so that's my fun parasite story. But yeah, they gave me that medication and they were like, just don't drink on it. That's all you gotta do. Like, just don't drink. Couldn't even do that, because I couldn't stop using it. I was in so much pain. So we kind of fast forward through all these painful relationships and so much loss and betrayal to myself, and but I couldn't stop. I was in and out of rehabs, and I thought that, if I could just put the drugs down, I would be okay. But that wasn't the thing. Like, the drugs were just a symptom. And the symptom is that my spiritual condition was not okay. This world isn't set up for us. Our society is not set up for us. Our schooling is not. They do not teach you how to be in touch with your emotions or self-care. They teach you to be a worker bee and get in line and obey.
Yep.
And we suffer, and so many people out there are suffering. And then we talk about the generational trauma and the way our parents were parented and how that is not. I mean, have you seen my video on the cry it out method?
Yes.
About that, the psychologist coming on saying children cannot self-soothe themselves. So when you are saying the cry it out method, you think you're teaching them to self-soothe themselves, but you are not, because they cannot cognitively do that. They
don't have it, and they don't have the developmental skill yet. It's crazy. No. So and we act like as soon as they come out, like they should be little adults. It's like, hello, they come here learning nothing.
Yeah.
Like knowing nothing.
Listen and obey. And you better listen to me. Well, we're not listening to them. We are not listening to their emotions. And they can't even really communicate well, right? So they're just going through so much trauma that their brains shut off. They're so upset because they need to be held and comforted. And that's when they fall asleep. And that's how those are the things that I was brought up with. And my fiance even let her cry, and he's like that. And so this is another battle I think most mothers go through with their partner, unless they're lucky enough to have somebody on that same level as you have with a mother's intuition. Mm-hmm. Because my fiance is an amazing man. I could never ask for anything better, but he doesn't get it.
Yeah, that's the same with my husband. My husband comes from a third world country. So as soon as you can walk, you're an adult. Like,
oh yeah. Right.
So he's very much like, you don't think he knows what he's doing? I was like, he doesn't, he's not manipulating you.
I know, that's what he thinks that she's manipulating me. I'm like,
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, it's been a battle recently. This is funny you even touched on that, because that's been a battle of mine with my husband recently, because Levi's our first child, so we're both learning. I'm trying not to parent how I was raised. And he doesn't exactly understand why you wouldn't, because in his mind everything is just survive. And it's hard to get someone out of that, especially when they grow up in a culture. It's it's a third world country, so it's heavily embedded. Like, you work for your food and that's it. There's no other purpose. So.
There's no play. There's no, we don't have time for fun.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. And I even talked to him recently. I was like, we're really great in our relationship with moving forward and going towards the future that we see, but we're not really great at having fun in it.
Yeah. Same thing with my relationship. We don't know.
I knew we would vibe so well.
We're the same. Yeah. So, and I mean, even as a mom, having that playtime with my daughter feels not natural, because that wasn't my experience. I didn't play. I was in, you know what I mean? I was in a bar. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Anyways, back on your health journey. So what was we both like to go on rabbit trails. So, okay. So what was the moment? So your parasite thing happened. So what was that the moment that kind of changed the trajectory of your health, or was there another moment?
For sure. I mean, thank God I had that experience, really, because that was 9 years ago, and I'm still parasite cleansing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because it's swept under the rug. Mm-hmm. And take these 3 pills, you're good. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I ended up going back. And when I got out of jail, I went to jail, whatever I did, I committed a crime because I couldn't stop myself. Your brain is you're not there. You know what I mean? You don't have empathy. You don't have a self-conscious, you don't have that. So I went to jail. This was the last time I went. I was looking at going for 7 years in prison. And for a woman who's 26 years old, who doesn't have children or marriage or anything like that, I didn't have anything. That'll wake you up. That'll wake you up, as it did me. And while I was in there, my stomach was distended, because it was just it was the parasites I had. They were creating this infection. Wow. So by the grace of God, I got out. I got out 10 days later, because literally of a miracle. I wasn't supposed to. And I had ended up, that's when everything started. I got out, and it's not smart. You don't want to just get out of using drugs for 14 years and start running. But that's what I did. I did that. And I, because my trauma and all these things, they were making me into somebody I wasn't, and being free from drugs. And I ended up going, I went to a 12-step program. I'm still in a 12-step program. I don't want anybody to think that I just came out of jail and was like, oh, I'm going to change my life without any help. That's not true. So I just wanted to put that out there for anybody who is struggling. The 12 steps were the answer and solution for me. But I started, I got out and I started running, and I found that it was removing my anxiety, because it was removing my anxiety. I could think clearly, I felt connected to something else. But so I ended up going back to the doctor. I actually went to the hospital because it looked like I was pregnant. The hospital was absolutely worthless. I mean, it really was. They ended up giving me something, but there was no proof. There was no detection, no diagnosis, no nothing. Okay. Sent me home. That was that. And you think that they know what they're talking about in Western medicine, and you want to trust them, and you're like, okay, it's gone, or okay, I'm crazy. And that wasn't the case, you know, so we can kind of fast forward. I'm, you know, doing recovery, and I'm doing really well, and finding a connection with myself and with God. You know, whatever you believe God is, that's what I'm talking about, you know. And I went vegan. And that, oh, hi little baby.
He was like, Mama, I want to say hi.
Oh.
Okay. Uh-oh. You gonna get down now? No. Okay. Anyways, continue.
So going vegan really catapulted me into health and wellness. I started to feel like I've never felt before, because you know why? Because my body was getting nutrients for once. I was not eating Doritos. I was not eating ice cream. I wasn't eating those chicken patties that you throw in the oven, because that's what I grew up on. I mean, I think all American kids kind of do.
For sure. Yeah.
And I don't recommend veganism for everybody. I'm not somebody who does that. We all have different blood types, and our bodies need different things. So not everybody.
For sure. I was a vegan at one point too.
Yes.
Not so much anymore, but I still I eat like salmon and every once in a while eggs. But like,
what vibes with you, and like following your intuition on what foods feel good for you. And I always, like I said, I recommend following your blood type diet. So I started feeling really good, and my skin cleared up, and it was just absolutely amazing. I had all this energy, and I was like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
And so like this just like blew the lid off of everything for me. I mean, I could think clearer. It was just such a big difference. So, you know, I go vegan, and the thing about that is let me just insert this really quick. People who have mood disorders, like depression, anxiety, things like that, we are low in neurotransmitters, okay? Addicts. Most of us are, we have depleted serotonin and endorphins, okay? And also when you give birth and you have a traumatic birth or a very hard birth, that also will deplete all of your endorphins. And here we have what's called postpartum
depression. Yeah.
And there's no, I mean, nobody's telling us, well, you need to eat these foods or take these amino acids to make sure that you're going to be okay. Your mind, your neurotransmitter storage is going to be okay. Who's out there doing that? Let me know. If you're in the comment section, please tell me, because we need you. But when I was vegan, I wasn't aware of those aminos that I needed. I wasn't aware of all these things, these mood disorders that are created by lack of neurotransmitters, lack of nutrition to create, to feed those neurotransmitters. And, you know, if you come from a long line of addicts or alcoholics or people with mental disorders, you inherit that storage depletion. So I, you know, although I felt great, I was very ungrounded. It threw me into like addiction even more. And I mean, addiction with like, you know, my phone, working, money, shopping, stuff like that. So that, you know, that blew the lid off of everything. And then I had a spiritual awakening.
Yay.
I had a spiritual awakening because those chemicals, girlfriend, were no longer cutting my connection off.
Yeah.
The chemicals in the food and in the water.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I would be meditating and I would be like, there's somebody standing in front of me. There's like a long line of spirits that are standing in front of me. Yeah. And they would talk to me, you know, and it was like, oh my God. And I had like this dream. I had this dream that completely came true. You know, I had like a spirit visit me in my dream. And it was actually my fiance's grandfather, who I had never seen. I was going through photo albums like the next week. And I was like, that was him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been dead for a very long time. So anyways, I ended up going to mediumship school, and I went to two actually because you know it's a whole different language. They don't talk like
Right.
you know what I mean. So I ended up doing that, and it just literally blew. I mean, I just fell into spirituality. And spirituality and health and wellness are one in the
They
same.
are. They really are. Yeah.
You can't really have one without the other. You can't, because the foods that are conditioned to, that we're conditioned to eat for dinner and to self-soothe, they're toxic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they cut your connection off.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, girl. It's kind of funny because our journey or where we are now, both me and you, is kind of similar or very similar, but I kind of had the opposite effect. So I like was awake spiritually first, and then the like holistic lifestyle came after that. Like that was an awakening for me more so than the spiritual. Like I came out of I'm like, one of my first words other than like mommy and daddy was angel. Like I was like, angel, you know, like I knew it was there already, but then like the you know, the healthy side of it, I like realized when I was a young teenager, I guess. I was like, when I eat sugar, I get mad. I'm like so mad the next day. I'm so angry. And just even recognizing that as a teenager, I was like, wow, that's pretty advanced. Like, but yeah, it kind of started with that. And then I, you know, ended up going into being a raw vegan and like, you know, all that stuff, but exactly had the exact same thing with you. I didn't know I needed the amino acids and didn't know I needed to cleanse and all that kind of jazz. But it's just funny that we kind of had opposite paths in a way, but we came to the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we were talking about last time on our other interview that we did about sugar and how it shortens your telomeres. So it shortens your lifespan.
Oh yeah, it was caffeine too. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. And that the crooked teeth in children, sugar causes crooked teeth. So that's why, you know, our whole culture really needs braces growing up. I mean, that's odd to me. Isn't it odd to you?
Right. No, it is. My husband, where he's from, he has the straightest teeth ever.
Yeah.
And he, like, their food is completely untouched because it's a third world country. And you can eat sugar over there because it's actually from a sugar cane. It's from the actual plant. And nothing happens to you. So he comes here and he's like, why does this taste so weird? Like, what is this? Like, he used to love Coke over there because it's made differently. It's made from actual sugar cane. It's not imported. And like they make it over there somehow. I don't know. But it's actually made from the sugar cane. And then he's like, what is this crap over here? This is disgusting. Like, he can't drink soda over here because he can tell the difference. And I mean, he's really healthy now and doesn't even go towards any of that anyways, especially since living here. But his teeth, super straight. Children over there don't have ADD. They don't have any of these like things that we have now in our society. I like am so surprised when I go to the playground now and I see little ones. I'm trying not to say the C word too much because that's flagged on here. Why are you in the trash? He just opened the trash can. It's like, what's in here? But yeah, I come across so many little ones that are 3 years old and aren't talking yet. And I'm like, no, okay, no. And they're so surprised with mine because he's not even 2 yet. He'll be 2 on the 22nd. And he is almost saying sentences.
It literally, like, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It really does. The amount of mothers that I talk to on a daily basis. And when I mean daily, I woke up and in my Telegram talked to 2 of them this morning who told me that their little ones were talking, counting, shapes, everything, and then just stopped one day and regressed. And this is the story that I hear every single day. And when we go to the mall, we go to like this little play place in our mall here, and I see them. I see them and my heart breaks. And I do the best that I can to put the information out there, that we are living in a world where heavy metal toxicity and toxins are, whether you get it put in your arm or your leg, that is what's causing this. The inability to speak, the cognitive dysfunction, cognitive delays, the regressions. There's nothing else that is causing it except that. And there is a solution to that. Every story is going to be different, but there is a solution. And to anybody who is listening to this, please do not think that this is just like something that you need to accept. You need to ask questions. And you need to follow your intuition, because we are being gaslit.
Yep, exactly. I mean, that is the perfect word for everything that's going on in society right now, is just the extreme gaslighting of an entire people group and culture, like especially the Western world. It's mind blowing. And like waking up to that is so hard. Like, like when you realize that a person's doing it in your life, but then you realize that your entire society and culture is doing it, and government is doing it to you. Like I had that thought the other day, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I'm over this. Like, not into like, I'm going to do something to myself, but like it can be overwhelming in the beginning, for sure. And then you get kind of into this like fight mode, or hopefully you do. And you do what, I do and what you do. And you're just like, I just got to tell everybody that I can. I've got to like swallow my ego and just put it out there, like not be afraid of what anybody else thinks, not being afraid of sounding crazy, because a lot of us that do have a platform and that are trying to help people wake up are risking a lot of social scrutiny and a lot of like, just like, there's plenty of my friends that are like so confused by the things that I talk about, and like do not vibe on the same level. And I'm just like, got to a point where I'm like, well, I can't keep quiet anymore, because this is to a point where I'm fed up and I don't want my child to live in this world. So I'm going to try do my best to change it. And a lot of like what I feel like, of course, it starts with, and maybe it's just because that's how my journey started, was doing the work inside first. Like, even on a health journey, it's starting, you have to do it for you first before you could ever tell anybody else to do it. Like, no one's going to believe you unless you have the personal experience and it works and how good you feel, like that kind of thing. And it's the same on like a spiritual awakening also, like healing the trauma and, the past stuff that's happened and all of your corruption in your DNA and all that kind of thing. You have to do it for yourself first, and your world is very much a direct reflection of you. So no wonder our world looks the way it does, because we're all so gaslit,
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of what my focus is on, is because especially the past few years, I've done so much inner healing on myself, and people are like, you are a completely different person. Like, even at one point, people were saying like my eyes got lighter, and I just like held myself differently and looked differently. And never in a million years would I think I would be talking about what I think about and what I see and healing on a platform. But I feel like I've gotten to the place where I can do that. I actually have I've put in the work to be able to relay it, because there's something that happens when, you can't just tell people information, like they have to experience it themselves, which is part of why we're in the world we're in right now and the things going on right now. And so a person that just learns something intellectually will not be as effective as a person that's been through it, which is exactly why I wanted to have you on my channel, because your journey, I could just tell, like, she's been through it. Like, I just know she knows what she's talking about. Like, she's experienced it. She's been through what some people call like the dark night of the soul type thing, you know, maybe many times, as most people do, and come out a totally different person, come out like a better version of yourself, or getting closer and closer to the best version of yourself. So I like to have people that I can see. I like to talk to people that I can see that they have that journey there. They have the groundwork laid to actually affect and cause a positive effect, because they know what they're talking about.
Well, that's the whole point of being alive on this earth. This is Earth School. This is why we're here, is to go through these transitions and the dark night of the soul, and completely like be reborn and work on yourself and cut generational traumas. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the whole purpose. And, you know, I've gone through that phase where I'm like, you need to do this and you're doing it wrong and all these things. But, you know, I mean, cognitive dissonance though, too, right? Some people will not accept something because they just don't want to. It doesn't make sense to them. So all I do is I make myself available, and I put out information with my experience. And that's what's always worked for me. And you know what? Nobody can tell me I'm wrong. It's my experience.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm tell me my experience is wrong. You literally cannot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, even when you go into like the world of like the metaphysical and like seeing, you know, I was listening to this girl talking about like, I'm not going to fight with you saying that my imaginary friend is, you know, not your imaginary friend. Kind of thing. Like, you can't tell me it's not. I know it is. Like, it's there. Like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. I mean, you know, it's so funny. But yeah, I feel like I have hope for the future, because I feel like we are moving into a lot more people being awakened by what's going on in the world. And, you know, I think we're both just trying to do our parts in that.
Yep. And my part is, you know, really, really geared towards the little ones. You know, it really is. I didn't see that coming. You know, I never saw that coming. I was always somebody who wanted to help women and with sexual trauma, and come, you know, and be themselves, and you know, heal from drug addiction and all these things. And then I thought it was, my purpose was just to be an intuitive and a medium and give everybody readings and teach everybody those things. And yeah, it was for a time, you know, but this is something that is what we're talking about, the problem, and just educating people on what's really happening. And that you can say no, you can stand up for yourself and follow your intuition as a mom. And you know what I mean? And these are the ones who are going to grow up. And but anyways, that's the whole reason why the CB, hopefully we can say that, is happening, because, you know, we're all ascending, we're all moving into a higher frequency. So they want to do everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, you can't stop what's coming.
It's in our DNA. It's going to. We're sovereign beings, so you know.
Your shirt says, "Born for a time as this."
That's right. I am. I love the shirt. This is her shirt. She made me this shirt. She's got a bunch of them in her shop. It's one of my favorites. It's so comfortable. And it fits me, because I was born for a time like this. And like you were talking about, you know, like just trying to navigate through this, and all of the tools that I have, black seed oil, right, is a substitute for the other thing that I don't even know how to say that. Do you know how to say that in code? Okay. Well, you guys
talk around it.
Yeah. Black seed oil, super good. You should get some. Make sure you get some. Or, you know, the heavy metal detox, or, you know, supporting your liver, supporting these detox pathways, because we're just constantly bombarded. You can navigate from what's actually being done.
Right. Yeah. You could say the effects of this to, combat it.
Or that the anti-parasitic medication, that is the substitute for an anti-parasitic medication that we are no longer allowed to receive.
Right.
That's what I want to say.
Right.
And guess what? Black seed oil is an anti-parasitic.
Oh.
And it also protects your DNA.
Oh, so for a time, I was totally into black seed oil. And then I stopped taking it for some reason. I just kind of it was one of those things that was I was really into it. I took it every day and even got the seeds and would put them in salads and stuff like that. And then I stopped doing it. But now that you just reminded me, I'm totally going to get some more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've been doing the other things. I mean, I like the Detox, which I love and I rave about and tell everyone about, because it has transformed my world.
Our life.
Yeah. Especially because right when I started, I had just had a miscarriage right when I started taking it. It's funny because so we know Charlie Ward, most people that follow me know who he is, but he is affiliate with them. And so he promotes it on his Telegram all the time. So I knew about it through that, but then I didn't really know that much about it until I started following you. So then I saw your TikTok talking about it. I saw your TikTok talking about it and I just felt like it was the time to do it. And so I ended up getting it the day after I miscarried. And it changed just my gut health so much that my serotonin was there after a time when it totally shouldn't have been, I should have stayed in, most people would stay in depression and I just didn't. I took it at that point I had taken it 2 or 3 months and I could tell that I was not sad. Emotionally I was sad because obviously it's a very sad, terrible thing to go to. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I wasn't staying in that sadness and depression. It was it happened, I grieved, it was over, kind of thing. And I moved on. I'm very excited to have other kids in the future. We'll go outside in a little bit, baby. Okay. Check it. But yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about that, the heavy metal detox and the parasite cleanse, they're 2 in 1.
Yeah.
They work well together, right?
Yeah. And just to kind of touch on, all of the chemicals that are in our digestive tracts from the food that we eat, affecting the serotonin, affecting our depression, our anxiety. This is one of the biggest reasons why, right? Like I was talking about with the neurotransmitters. And then let's talk about really quick. I just want to bring some awareness to this issue where a lot of antidepressants and anxiety medication are coated in heavy metals. Now, heavy metals and anxiety and depression are directly linked together. Heavy metal toxicity causes depression and anxiety. So when you're taking a medication for the problem that is causing the problem, it's just perpetuating the problem. So nobody is healing. This is meant to keep you in this state. This is a huge issue. So, and then talking about you and fertility and, miscarriages and things like that, I just want to touch on the fertility because a lot of people don't know this either is when we are eating those foods with all of these chemicals and preservatives in them, and heavy metals, especially from our cookware and things like that. Heavy metals become embedded into the digestive tract. And all of the chemicals leach. Our digestive tract is right on top of our reproductive organs. So they leach right down into it, not to mention the pads and the tampons. The pads or the tampons, please, Lord, if any woman is watching this and is using scented tampons, I beg of you to take them out of wherever they are and start them on fire, or you can just put them in the garbage if you don't want to be that dramatic. If you think about, organic versus non-organic, there's organic tampons versus non-organic tampons. You know what I mean? Like, meaning there's pesticides, chemicals, all of those things that you are inserting up inside of you. And that is why your body is trying so hard to get rid of that by contracting. And our periods are so painful, and we have endometriosis, and that is not natural. And then the other thing, right, where everybody, this whole world timeout happened, and all of a sudden all the women's cycles are extremely heavy, and the those big things that are coming out of us that are, their blood and their big things, that is because our body is trying so hard to get rid of something that is in our blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That came from somebody else who got something in their blood.
Right.
You know what I mean. Okay.
In there on purpose.
Your body is a self-healing machine. It is so intelligent. When people say you have a disease, you have a disorder, you have this, you have that, you can get rid of that.
Yeah.
Very easily. The C word, the one that starts with tumors and things like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a death sentence. You know what that means? That means that you have toxins in your body that your body encapsulated to save itself. It's literally a ball of toxins.
Yeah.
So what you're doing, malignant versus the other one. Okay. All you're doing, if they say that it's not yet, it will be. It will be, okay, right, unless you remove the toxins. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. And then parasites accompany toxins. That's why you see people do with that disease are doing parasite cleansing, because they go hand in hand. You can heal from those things. Autoimmune, toxins, that's all it is.
Yeah, they want us to believe so. They're trying to push it in our brains that we are such victims to everything, absolutely everything. When our body and our immune system was made to fight things off, was made to heal itself. Our bodies are absolutely incredible if you think about it. What the heck is this thing? This thing creates humans and heals itself. And I mean, everything that they're doing has been just trying to do something to this. So it's got to be pretty special.
That's right. That's right. Yep. So synthetics are what cause disease, heavy metals and toxins, along with pathogens, parasites, viruses that accompany a heavy toxic load. If your immune system is working properly, you are not going to have parasites, viruses, pathogens, because your immune system is going to fight it off. If you do not have those heavy metals and toxins holding your cell door open for them to enter, to bog it down, to make it attack itself because it's trying so hard to get rid of these things, you're going to fight it off. My daughter, let's talk about this really quick. My daughter had one of the things. This is why I know that she had a speech delay. Intuitively, I know it. I've always known it. If I would have continued, can I say the A word?
I don't know. We usually don't talk about that. So
okay.
You can try.
The disorder, the 3-letter disorder that starts with A, that little ones are diagnosed with. I knew that would happen to her. Psychically, intuitively, as a mother, just knew it. So what was I talking about? Why did I bring that up? Okay. So she only had one, all right? She had a speech delay. Here's a good segue into this. She had a speech delay. The pediatrician told me, she was only saying mama and dada. Very intelligent child. I would ask her to say, repeat me, you know what I mean? She would just look at me and then ignore me. It's this isn't right. The pediatrician, she's supposed to be saying 50 to 200 words right now. at least 50. Well, we'll just wait, and then we'll test her for the 3-letter disorder that begins with an A on your next well visit if we have to. Are you effing kidding me? No. That's what you got for me? Okay, cool. So I knew it was heavy metals and toxins. Number one, they're passed down genetically. I'm a drug addict. In recovery, obviously. I used to smoke off tinfoil. I mean, come on. I did not live a very good life. I barely even ate. I probably didn't drink water ever. It was beer or Dr. Pepper. You know what I mean? The kind of chemicals and toxicity that I had was unbelievable. Not to mention having that parasite infestation. So, whatever, you pass down toxins. Also, she was eating that Happy Baby oatmeal. Listen, I knew in that rice cereal, I knew that stuff was so bad. What are you going to do, family? What are you going to do when family lost your kid? So they were on the news for all the heavy metals that were in there, and a bunch, like a dozen other baby foods that were full of those heavy metals. So not only did that one thing was one of the largest amounts of heavy metals in it, the first one that is actually what's it called? And I don't want to say bacteria, sexually transmitted disease that I gave her. Why would I give her that thing for sexually transmitted disease?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Makes no sense.
so I knew it was that anyways. All right. So got this detox. Day four of using this detox, she says no. She was like, no. And I was like, come again? I didn't expect that. We didn't expect that. I had no idea I didn't know about zeolites. They've been around for centuries, ancient mineral. This stuff is kept under the rug. You know what I mean? It's like something
totally.
that people pull out of a box, like it's something magic, shh.
Right. It's kind of like cannabis.
Your child was diagnosed with that 3-letter thing. Shh. You know what I mean? That's what I was like, all right, whatever. I knew that, whatever. So starts talking on day 4, and then day 5, she says 6 words. She's repeating me. I'm like, say bean, say green. I'm like, shut the F up right now. It was unbelievable. And then, so it comes to the gut detox as well. And day 2 of that detox, she pooped worms, dude. And yeah. And I didn't know. Yes, we have dogs, but I must have, they can be transmitted, through breast milk. You can give them to your children. Not only that, this is something I called my pediatrician, terrified that they were going to call CPS on me. Do you know what I mean? Is this normal? I don't know. And because they were roundworms, dude. They were big. They were,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? And and the pediatrician was like, oh yeah, no, super common. I was like, what? You know what I mean? Oh yeah, pinworms. They're so common. And I'm like, why wasn't I notified about this? Why didn't you tell me to look for these things? And number 2, that was number 1. Number 2, these aren't pinworms.
Yeah.
So go to your pharmacy and get this stuff that did not work. It did not work. Didn't work. And so, and then, most recently, because we've been working on this with the detox, and I'm really excited because her and I both did a kit, a stool kit that we sent to a professional, parasite identification person. He works in 3rd world countries, with the army and all these things. So this is his thing, but because I went to another ped here in Florida, a holistic one, might I add, and they were like, well, we'll give you a test to get a parasite identification thing. So I'm like, so I need to have one come out and you're going to send it to the lab? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, they don't come out. They don't want to come out. So I just sit and hope and pray and wait for something to come out and then run it somewhere. Are you kidding? You know what I mean? No. So anyways, this guy, this guy is going to send, he'll find like segments, he'll find eggs, like all those things, like he does the real deal test. So we will see, everybody will know about it too, trust me. If I have cleared our parasite infection with the zeolite, and you know, so we will see. But yeah, PBX changed our entire lives, myself as well. I mean, it removes fluoride, hopefully we can say that on here. And when, you know, I started, because I used it first, obviously, my brain fog completely went away. My cycles no longer painful, went right back to 3 days.
Same.
Can't even.
Mine was 3 days this time. I was like, wait a second, what? 3 days? That's it? I literally was shocked. Like, you know, TMI, I just got off of mine, but I was like, that was it? Like, that's all?
Wait. Okay, what date is yours? That's just interesting.
I mean, it started like 3 or 4 days ago, so.
Yeah, me too.
Too insane. Are we the same person? Like,
I don't know. But yeah, I didn't need, no pain. Don't need to take anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be running for the CBD because everybody out there, please don't take acetaminophen or anything like that. It's going to deplete the glutathione in your liver. You just don't want that. So yeah, no pain with periods, better sleep. My dreams are off the chain. It was like, I am myself. I'm not like a zombie. That's all I can explain. That's all I can describe it as, is I am not a zombie anymore. I'm my true self. And also, you know, that thing that they put in the water that starts with an F that I just had said, used to be used in Nazi Germany. Okay. As, they used to use it for the camp members, to make them docile and to sterilize them. And this is the same thing on a smaller scale. And that's what they are doing. It cuts you off, your connection off from spirit, from God. You cannot, you know, your third eye, all those things. So I'm a Scorpio. I'm naturally intuitive. You know what I mean? Like everybody is though. I love it. I think a little more than other people do.
I'm kind of the same, honestly.
Yeah. I don't have this ability, but there are some people who just like, are like, yes, I love this. You know, other people are like, yeah. But, you know, it removed that. It removes radiation, pesticides, herbicides, mold, anything with a positive charge. So it'll take mold out of your cells. There's so many people struggling with mold. It breaks my heart.
If you have a Wi-Fi in your house, you have mold in your body, most likely.
Really?
Yep. It causes it to grow. It causes it to grow faster and faster. So, you know, the best thing you can do, because we live in a world of technology, is turn it off whenever you're not using it. Whenever you're not using it.
My God.
Because of the 5, well, even any G, it will say any G, because it's not just this one, causes the mold to grow faster, which is part of it. And
so everybody walking around, and let me tell you, everybody, y'all have parasites, especially if you have dogs. If you are not dewormed twice a year, and cats, animals, especially birds too. That's how we get them in our feet, bird poop and things like that, walking barefoot.
Oh, yeah.
Right, especially on the beach and stuff like that. If you're not deworming twice a year, you got them. And so that frequency, good tower frequency, it when it hits your body, it aggravates the parasites, and they think they're being attacked. So they send out the toxins, mycotoxins. To defend themselves. So releasing toxins even more so in your body. It's an attack.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, this has been super fun. I feel like we can literally talk for hours. We're both like, this.
We can go off so many different tangents.
And this. Well, I did present it. I was in another video, I was saying that, you know, you obviously have so much information on all this stuff. So if you're up for it to do another video, people can ask questions in the comments. And then we can maybe do an answering kind of video, answering questions and stuff.
I love that.
Okay, cool. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And try not to be super blunt in saying the words that will get us taken off. Just be aware. We'll know what you're talking about without you fully saying it, most likely, if you explain it well enough. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments and we will do a update video answering all those questions. We literally could go on for hours, I'm sure. But we both have children, so I'm gonna have to go. But thank you so much for coming on here. This has been super informative, and I think will inspire a lot of people that probably have a similar story to yours. I mean, we all do in levels, you know. I mean, you kind of like anything out of your story, at least some of, like, you know, we've done some of it at least, you know, in our lives past. So I think it's super, super important to get your story out there, because it's a lot of people's story as well. And, you know, we're all trying to navigate this crazy, insane world that we are like bombarded with all of these things trying to kill us.
Some people don't have anybody to talk to. A lot of moms that reach out to me say everybody thinks I'm crazy, and I'm sorry for unloading all this on you. And it's like, that's why we have the Telegram group, you know, so we can all be there.
I love her Telegram group. You know, like any question you have, like nothing is off, like nothing off the table. Like you can ask anything. And nothing's TMI. I've seen poop shared, honestly. They're like, is this a worm? you know? And I honestly love being a part of people that are like that. Like there's no like TMI, there's no filter, because you know, all these like social norms and social constructs of like what should and shouldn't be shared. It's like, no, we're all trying to figure this out. Like nobody has it figured out. Like
judgmentalism. It's judgmentalism. Yes.
And so there's no room for that anywhere in any kind of place that me and her seem to be. So very free to talk about anything, ask questions. But thank you so much. This has been super fun. And we will schedule another one. Okay. My toddler is making lots of noise. Thank you so much, and have a great day, everyone.
Okay. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.